What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here, bringing you my top 5 fantasy football running back to draft for the 2024 fantasy football season. Make sure you click that link at the end of the video to catch my running back rankings 12 through 6 and hit that like and subscribe. It's a free way to support the work we do here over at Fantasy Alarm. Checking in at my RB5, we have Achane. I'm loving this spot here. I am moving him up in my rankings, so maybe this is a bit controversial here, but Achane was such an explosive rookie last year, but his season only cut short by injuries, but his per 17-game averages had him on pace for 1,500 total yards, 42 catches, and 17 total touchdowns. The Dolphins had one of the most explosive offenses in all of football. I don't expect that to change. And Mike McDaniel loves his two-back system. Sure, some people are still concerned about Raheem Mostert, but Achane is such an explosive player, and Mostert may take a step back in his total rushing touchdowns. I think we see Achane take a big leap forward. For me, RB5. And RB4 is a similar type of player here. Jahmyr Gibbs. Last year, I planted my flag. I said Jahmyr Gibbs would be a top 10 running back in PPR formats, and he finished just that, about total points and points per game. He had nearly 1,300 total yards, 52 catches, and 11 touchdown passes. And that's while not fully having the job to begin the year. Yes, he benefited from the David Montgomery injury, and David Montgomery is still on this roster, but Jahmyr Gibbs is far too explosive. The biggest comp we used last year was the Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram season with New Orleans. I could very well continue to see that comp come through here, but Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, is going to be a top 5 fantasy football running back in PPR. At RB3, we have Breece Hall. He come back from that ACL injury with everything we could want and more as fantasy managers last year. Nearly 1,600 total yards, 76 receptions, and 9 touchdowns. Now he has Aaron Rodgers, who we hope will be healthy and healthy enough for the entire season. That means the Jets' offense should be better and more opportunities for Breece Hall to score touchdowns. I don't see too much regression coming in either the passing game or the rushing totals for Hall this season. My RB2 is Bijan Robinson. Listen, he's the cover of the Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide for a reason, and I think there could be a legitimate shot he becomes the RB1 overall this year, but I'm going to settle in here. Last year, as a rookie, put forth some pretty impressive numbers despite the mind-numbing usage by Arthur Smith with Bijan Robinson last year. He still managed almost 1,500 total yards, 58 receptions, and 8 touchdowns. New coach, new system, better quarterback play. Honestly, could see him threatening 100 targets, should have easily double-digit rushing touchdowns, and I think he's going to approach 1,200 yards on the ground as well. Locking in Bijan Robinson as my RB2, because my RB1 is Old Faithful Christian McCaffrey. I am not afraid of the injuries. I told everybody last year, you have the number 1 overall pick, you got to be taking CMC. That 49ers offense is just far too potent, and he did not disappoint. The RB1 overall and fantasy points per game and total fantasy points last season. He finished with over 2,000 total yards, 67 receptions, and 21 touchdowns. I am not worried about them limiting him. This offense is still elite, and he is going to be a massive part of it. For me, Christian McCaffrey is my RB1 overall. Make sure you click that link right there. Catch my running back rankings 12 through 6. We appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you get that Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide, fantasyalarm.com/draft. Go dominate and win with us here at Fantasy Alarm this season.